Best captain that you had?
Roy Keane, without a shadow of a doubt.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane.
I'm going to say Keane.
But what a player he was. What a player he was.
From Cork's streets to Old Trafford's glare, Roy Keane embodied leadership forged in fire. Relentless in midfield and uncompromising in standards, he treated football as a test of character as much as skill. Teammates followed, opponents feared. Managers trusted his honesty, even when it burned. Keane didn't just win trophies, he demanded accountability, intensity, and pride in the shirt. Love him or loathe him, his presence defined an era. Few players ever matched his will to dominate every minute. Here now, we present Roy Keane. In the words of his contemporaries,
if I was going to name my best ever 11, Keane would be the first.
I remember one game at Coventry when, he squared up to me, and that was over me not crossing the ball first time.
You know what, he took no day off. And I don't mean in the physical sense of having a day off. I mean, every single day that he stepped on that training pitch, he wanted to win. Whether it was at the keep ball game, at the heading game, he inspired us every single day because he came in with that mentality, and we all knew that that's what we have to cope with. That's the level that we have to reach, and that's why Keane was who he was, because he was a winner, and he was hungry, and he always wanted to win.
As I mentioned many times, Roy Keane for me was my best captain ever.
Keane, because if I could pick one player in my team, I would always pick Roy Keane in front of any other players I've played with. Keane had everything. He's a leader, player, so he's probably the best player I've ever played with.
Best leader would be Roy Keane. I think he was someone who led by example when he played in a game on a weekend for the team, but also he demanded high standards of the teammates around him. Never let standards slip, and would tell people if he thought that was happening. So he would be my one.
Brilliant. He kept you on your toes all the time, I suppose. You always knew standards had to be high. You had to play well, and if you didn't, you were in for trouble. But not like that. He was a great player as well. Great footballer, and really good to have around.
First time I come across Keane was actually when he wasn't with United, when he was at Notts Forest, and we were playing them in a League Cup final at Wembley. And I remember it was early on in the game, and I had the ball, and I think I just checked inside, and Keane just took my legs from under me. He swore at me or said something, and I just thought, who's this idiot here?
He wants to win. That's one thing about Roy. He wants to win games. He doesn't care, about anything else that's going on around him. Once he steps over that white line of the pitch, then that's all he thinks about doing.
He's the player I most admire of the ones I've played with. I've learned so much from him, and he's been a fantastic leader.
Even now when I see him, he is the captain. Do you know what I mean?
His short game was underrated in my opinion, because he could break lines with his passing, he could change the play, he could run off you. I think he had all the components. I think obviously he scored a lot of important goals at key times.
The manager and some of his staff were having a cup of tea, and I was involved in that, and they were talking about Roy, and I just piped in when normally I would never say anything unless the manager asked my opinion, but I just said to him, I've played against him quite a few times, Gaffer. He's nailed on. There's no danger I would not bring Roy Keane into the club.
Which player would you say that you played with probably had the greatest mental strength?
The greatest? Well, I play with some top players, but I'm going to be honest, I think I look at someone like Roy Keane, and you looked at what he was as a person, on the pitch, off the pitch, you turn around and say to yourself, wow man, this guy, he knows exactly what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, and if he's giving it to you, you've got to give it to him. He's one of those ones, and I think we all looked at him and respect him as a player because what he was as a player, he was a fantastic player.
In terms of Roy Keane, when I come back from Antwerp and had my first sessions with the first team, went out and trained. Obviously at Antwerp, the standards weren't quite as high as they were at Man United, and I gave the ball away, and I got the biggest telling off I've ever had. And I was thinking, oh my God, I ain't sure about this. But then in the dressing room after, he spoke to me and told me why he'd done it, because that's what it's like here. That's what it's going to be like, and you need to deal with that. As well as that, I didn't drive at the time. He'd come and pick me up, he'd do anything he could to help the players, because he was in charge of the dressing room where Sir Alex was in charge of the team, and he was an amazing captain who'd do all he could to help you, which the best captains do. Don't get me wrong, me and a few of the young lads, we used to have little small-sided games, and we used to hope and pray we weren't in Keane's team, because he knew if you were, you had to be on it. And if you lost, he wouldn't speak to you for a week on a training pitch. But they were both two of the, like, couldn't speak any more highly of them, because they are amazing.
There are moments when you just think to yourself, wish he'd, go away. But the question is, I mean, people, do you want him in your team on a Saturday afternoon? And the answer is always yes.
As a captain, unbelievable leader, and I mean an unbelievable leader. Would do anything, literally anything for his team to win.
I think Roy Keane. I think he's the one that stand out in that dressing room, I suppose. In a game of cards, he wouldn't want to lose, even if it's a little bit of money. Five-a-side, he wouldn't want to lose. Yeah, it was just a born winner, in fairness to him. People will, say what they like about Roy Keane, but at the end of the day, he was a born winner, and he won't take no or any nonsense off anyone unless he wins, even if it's for a fiver. Trust me, he's the hardest man that you can ever find.
I get annoyed when people talk about Roy Keane and about his tackles, and it was hard. Yes, it was. Yes, he was. He could tackle people, as we all know. But what a player he was. What a player he was. He could pass the ball, he could score goals. I was in the stand when he scored that header in Turin to bring the team back in the semi-final. I was like, wow. The way he brought his team back into the game. The way he battled in midfield. The way he could galvanize everyone and make them play better by just who he was. Wow.
I play against Roy Keane, and when I come to pitch, I remember thinking, this guy is of another planet. The way he's controlling everyone on the pitch.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's shouting and hollering, you do this, you do that, why are you doing that? You better improve. What the?
Roy Keane wasn't just a captain, he was the standard bearer for a winning culture that may never be replicated. He demanded excellence because he gave nothing less himself, proving that talent wins games, but relentless accountability wins dynasties. While the game has changed, the legend of the Keano era remains the ultimate blueprint for leadership under fire. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more football legends. Until next time.